All right, we're back. Dondi's review videos, part, what are we at, 4?
Whichever one.
Three? Okay, we're back. Yeah, it's been a fun 2 weeks, I think. I've really enjoyed these last 2 weeks. I know I've been focusing mostly on Python, just because that's what my game is.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool to see how much you can do with just, like, the basic commands. Like, so far, our game pretty much only has if statements, like else statements, and, like, input, and that's it. But it's so interactive, and it's super cool. And especially with, like, the text part, there's so many different possibilities for just games in particular, because, I mean, anything with the ability to enter text and then have a reaction to what the user enters, you come up with so much stuff for that, and it's been really fun just messing around, kind of seeing what you can do with it, and you can create your whole, like, virtual world almost in text without having to code that much, which I really like. It was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. What about you?
Okay, about mine. Well, I kind of had the same thing going on, I'd say, with sort of Python and constructing it, but it was I've got a simpler version. It's weird because in order to make it more simple, I have to make it more complex.
Right.
So what I'm doing is I have, like, a lot of if-else statements, but I also have some objects that I sort of use and collage with those, and it's made it a bit simpler. But I need to so what I need to do is sort of keep building objects that can work for, like, commands instead of having, like, if-else's for commands, or, like... But I think I've done some, like, fun, complicated things so far. I've sort of been using, like, counting and timers.
Oh, wow. That's sweet. I really want to do that because I don't really like all the text pops up at once. It's nice to have it delayed. What's your game?
Well, it's not, like, delayed text. It's basically, like, the idea is, like, it's like a text adventure where you're, like, trapped in the backseat of, like, in, like, the back of a prison bus and it's slowly sinking. So it's not, like, all the text pops up at once.
So it's more like, if you don't finish it by the timer,
you have, it's, like, it's, like, your action, like, your tangible actions, like, take a little bit off the timer.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you sort of have this amount of time before you drown.
Jeez. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of, like, intense, I guess.
Wow.
So I built, like, a timer object for that sort of interacts with the others. I have an inventory, a sort of object that stores, like, this sort of stores and checks if, like, objects have been placed into your inventory.
Jeez. Oh yeah, that's what we're trying to do that too. Because my game's like a zombie survival game based on the LMU campus, and basically you have to explore different buildings and get all these items, and then only once you have all the items can you go to U-Haul and get in T-Law's helicopter to escape the school.
I mean, what I got was, like, for what I did for mine, I'd say for, like, I built sort of two different object types, I'd say. I built a regular object and I built an inventory. Mm-hmm. And the inventory is basically sort of an array object designed to sort of add and store them. And then there's a check that sort of skims the inventory and will sort of grab, like, if you have the object, and will check against it. But since I can't, like, necessarily delete the objects from the area because I think that would be complicated, I gave each object, like, a variable that's, like, if it is in the area or not. There are also, like, multiple variables for each object. So, like, is it in the area or it's not? That sort of determines, like, whether you can pick it up in the area, but it also determines whether it's going to show up when you look around the area, and, like, the line of text describing it is going to show up. There's one that's sort of, like, inaccessible, where it's, like, can you access this object yet? So, like, I'm designing it to have, right now it's just one, like, solution. I'm going to give, like, sort of it's two areas with, like, multiple solutions in, like, my final version.
Yeah.
And, like, the solution I have for the first area is you have to get, like, these keys down from, like, one of the a dead guard above you, but it's, like, you have to knock them out of his hand, so you just crumple up a piece of paper and throw them at them. So the keys are inaccessible, so you can't, that variable means you can't get them.
Right.
And then there's also, like, a variable for, like, alternate modes, like, you can't just throw the paper, you have to crumple it up, which sort of, that variable determines where the object changes.
Are you doing, your paths are all kind of user chooses versus, like, a forked path then?
Yeah, it's sort of like, it's going to be more like, user,
so
like...
it's like full interaction versus, like...
that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm giving, like, multiple, and like I said, I'm trying to build multiple routes towards, like, the same goal. So it's, like...
Right, that's pretty awesome.
Multiple different choices for the user to go with. It's not, like, going to be completely, like, you can figure out any possible solution. It's going to be like, okay, there are multiple paths and you can figure out, and it's up to you to figure out which ones to go with.
Yeah, that's sweet. One thing I'm looking forward to in the future is, like, mixing graphics, the graphics that we did in JavaScript,
this would be fun.
with this sort of game design, because even like simple graphics. I don't know, because it'd be pretty easy to code like a basic character, and then just like every time you make a decision, have a little cutscene. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Have you done much with the CSS coding at all? HTML? Have you really?
Not as much with HTML.
I don't really. I want to learn
understand
more about
why
that.
it's useful,
Yeah.
but it's not like been something I've really worked with much.
Right. I think it's cool how it's like 3 separate like coding matrices that you kind of you do base code and then you adapt it separately. I like that because one thing we've been struggling with in my game is because it's like choose your own adventure style, and so keeping all the pathways like separate is kind of hard because I don't know, it's hard to make it not linear in Python because it's just like a linear code.
Yeah.
So I think CSS might be easier to kind of make it more of an interactive world like yours versus a linear design. But I don't know. I'd be interested to learn how to do like arcade style games because I mean at the moment it sounds like pretty much everyone's are either like basic card games or just like interactive adventure games. And I think it'd be really cool to learn like I don't know how to code like something like Flappy Bird or something like that.
Yeah.
With like something with like hitboxes and like the visual identity is what I really want to get into. I don't know about yourself.
I think that would be for like me. That would be something I'd be interested in for sure.
Yeah. What else do I want to look forward to? I don't know. I think I really want to learn more commands and definitely practice the ones I know. Because for me, I end up having to look up pretty much every like section that I'm coding because I just like can't recall what the proper wording of the command is. Like I know that it's input or it's if else, but the different parentheses and semicolons and colons that you have to use really throw me off a lot. I don't know. Anything else?
Really, no.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end it there.
Yeah.
Video number 4. Thanks for watching. We will see you in 2 weeks.